Welcome back to Motorsport Manager, final episode. After more than 2 years, I'm wrapping up this series. The Motorsport Manager was the first video, I believe, that I did when I rebooted the channel at the beginning of 2018, roughly. And now we have come to the conclusion, something like 200 episodes later, or it's in that vicinity. Anyway, we are in Beijing, which we'll get to explore that track. We need 8 points. It's a simple season at this point. We did do a little bit of work on the pit crew. I did have the one gentleman who made a mistake, I think it was a gentleman, where there, Vagendran. Yeah, you're not in good shape, but we were able to hire a good person. We are in order to replace him. The others are able to stay out, so we've got a pretty strong pit crew going for the last race. As you can see, if anything, maybe we slipped a little bit here. Definitely not going to catch Toyota this year. We have, well, actually ever, that means. Okay, so the engine is spec, the gearbox and the rear wing, and then we're going to have some rain, looks like heavy rain, for the race. Our gearbox is maxed. Our nose is maxed. Our rear wing is maxed. The only thing we can work on is the suspension, which we are doing, but we're not going to see a major boost from that. So rear wing a little bit short of theirs, but the gearbox is better. And we'll see how much of this big gap we can relieve. There's all our effort. You can see that we're only going to get this a little bit over halfway there. So we'll get some points. Oh, we've got a dilemma. Yes, we're in first. Short track, just over a minute. Top acceleration, gearbox is the most important. Good, that's going to be our best part of the 3. We rarely speak one-on-one, but from the little time we spent together, I can already tell you're a decent, well-intentioned manager. The press are spreading some vicious, nonsensical rumors the GMA are running something like called an offshore slush fund. Obviously, it's pure nonsense. But I'd appreciate some public support against these claims. Having me as a friend in the boardrooms could do wonders for your career. Nope. We're not going to tank our marketability. Want some more test track? Lawrence Van Hoor. No. Not going to happen. Onward. Not doing your dirty work for you, Chairman. Okay. Toyota expected to win. On the other hand, Van Hoor thinks we're going to win. We're predicted to finish second behind them. Yeah. Can't say that I'm surprised. Oh boy, our suspension got a lot better though. We closed the gap there. We moved up to second behind Toyota, so that's nice. Still first on the nose. Still first there. Still second here. I don't think they improved that anymore. The overall picture looks better. I think that's about as close as we've gotten. All right, it's going to be cool. Yeah, with these tires choices, I'm going to go with softs definitely if we can. Heavy rain. And now that I look at it, I think I remember this track. It's been a long time since we did it. Let's see what the drivers think. And they say fourth and second. Well, that's better than fourth and third. But nonetheless, I think we're playing catch-up to Toyota. Glad for that lead in the standings as we wrap up this year. It's been a bit of a challenging race weekend so far. Practice did not go as planned. It was raining pretty hard at the start, even though that was supposed to be the one dry session. The Friday practice, that did not happen for us. We did get both cars maxed out pretty easily on their setups, but we weren't able to get any work in on the soft tires. Ended up going medium for the race. We had inters and mediums that we maxed out instead. Gonna have to decide which way to go here. And then for qualifying, rain off and on. Tried to use the weather to our advantage and get some dry laps in. Was able to do that a little bit, but it was raining most of the time. And as you can see, we didn't quite get there. And Rebellion crushed everybody, you can see. But again, that was mostly due to having, the best driver, having soft tire bonus, I bet, and then hitting the timing just right for them. Everybody else a ways behind, but we're pretty competitive with the rest of the pack, 3rd and 7th. So I'm not too overly concerned about that. And Negrau, disappointed by qualifying. Yep, they finished down mid-table. Well, we're going to have good weather to start here in Beijing. How long will it last? Not long. So we look at the rain. Yep, okay. So I think the rain is going to be significant. I'm going to go with the inters and race trim on both cars. And we'll use soft tires for this initial opening stint. And how long is this going to last, roughly? Maybe 45 minutes? Something there. 45, 50 minutes is what we're looking at here. Now, the times for the laps have been about 1:10. So it's fast, just not quite as fast as was anticipated. We were running pretty good on form. And since it's going to be a short stint, probably extra stops, I don't mind throwing out Negrau since he's looking really good at the start. I think that's the first time I've ever had him start a race. But I think it's also the right move. And I also even did some qualifying laps, some repeats on these tires, so we would have enough inters, hopefully, for the race. 3 full sets. So I was, doing the usual sandbagging, everything else, and focusing on the race. So if we're going to do 45 minutes at 1:10 for laps, we're not going to want much fuel here. I'm going to go a little bit on the high side just so we don't have to have a massive refueling in the next session. But I'm still going to drop it down to 30 laps. We're not going to carry a lot. And let's see about the other car. Could go any way on this. I'm going to go with Castelli just because she'll start with the fired up and because of her high current. So, our 2 weakest drivers are going to start off this race. That's a little bit weird. But again, it's a short stint. We'll drop you down to 30 laps as well. And this is going to be one where we just kind of have to... It could be a lot like the previous race in Sydney. We're just going to have to be careful with it. And try to just sort it out. Okay, so let's take a look at how our form is going to do compared to Toyota. And by the way, we now, since they didn't get the pole and Rebellion did, now we just need 4 points, I believe, to get by them. So, pretty solid except for Negrau looking good at 7 for us. And Toyota finished down further in the standings. They didn't finish anywhere above 5th. Pretty average there. Path at the star. And then, oh, very nice. Very nice for car number 2. And yeah, not that great here. So I'm very confident. We just need to not colossally screw up. That's our only goal here. Negrau in 3rd. Castelli 7th. The clinching race of the 2023 Endurance Series Top Flight is underway. Negrau sliding up to 2nd. I'm wondering if the other cars, backed off their fuel as much as we did. Well, we're holding with Castelli, but Negrau is in 2nd, right behind that pole-sitting car, and pulling away from the field at the moment. And yeah, we're definitely going to need to be pushing the tires here. And we're going to want to do that anyway. We're going to want to keep the tire temperature high. Castelli locking up. That's not good, but it's going to matter a lot less than it normally would. Negrau goes wide, but still stays in 2nd. Shows you how well he's doing. Backing off on the tires now. We just need to get him out of that fired up zone so we can control him. There we go. And we'll go medium and neutral. So Castelli now in 8th. Negrão again now right behind the leaders. Castelli up to 6th. Current look at the standings. Yeah. I mean, Rebellion might win. The Toyota getting no points. Toyota looking very bad early on. They will improve later, I'm sure. Anything this side of a crash, and we are home free with the title. Or, of course, anything bad happening to Toyota would totally clinch it. Castelli sliding up a spot to 5th. So my sense of things is indeed that the other cars simply are not using as much, or using a little more, rather, fuel than we are. To their detriment in this case, Castelli up to 4th. We're a little over halfway to where the rain is supposed to start hitting. We've also used quite a bit of fuel. Switch you, and boy, those tires are burning fast. I knew they were going to burn, but I thought they would last long. Okay, we're going to go back to conserve. Both cars go conserve. We got to make this last longer. And let's go hybrid now. I didn't fully consider, because that's why I switched from softs to mediums. The softs don't have nearly enough to cover the distance. But I still thought they would last a little bit longer than this. So we're definitely going to go. That's too bad, because you're not going to. So yeah, I definitely overburned the tire. Yeah, boy, you're down. Okay, let's slow this up. Let's go harvest. And yeah, that was the wrong decision. Let's go push for a bit. Push for a bit on you. Get the tire temper up a bit, and then we'll go back to neutral. No. We've got to get as close as we can to the rain. We may end up pitting a little bit early for that anyway, but... So, lesson learned there a bit, I would say. Okay, let's send you on neutral. And you as well. And we're definitely... Castelli, because of that whole misadventure, is going to have to pit first. We're just going to get as much as we can out of these tires, and we're slowing down now. Some of them are pitting already. Are they going to go to inters? That's going to be a very interesting question. The rain is just starting, and... Yeah, they're not. That's a mistake. We've got a little bit of rain, but we need some more. So let's watch Castelli. And let's see. Let's get one more lap out of these tires. And then we're going to pit. And we're essentially going to have, you know, full reservoirs, pretty full reservoirs of energy. Okay. Now we're going to go to Briscoe. We're going to want to do a full set on fresh inters, so the tires should last plenty of time. Actually, that's not that far. Maybe just barely enough time. Yeah, these mediums aren't even going to get us a full set. So we're not going to want to push them. And then fuel-wise, let's look at the weather. Okay, yeah, it's going to get wet. Eventually. I want to have enough for roughly a full set, I think. We go with 40 laps, and let's see how that works out. Definitely go balanced. Okay, and then the growl will come in for the next round. And we'll go ahead and go with Van Hoer, since Mueller is not feeling the best at the moment. Again, we'll boost up to 40 laps. And also go balanced. Castelli about to hit pit row. Wait a minute. I don't think... Nope. Stay out there. I don't think you're gonna... I think you're gonna get there too soon. You might end up tripping on top of each other. So go one more lap. And now do the stop. And we'll see where we sit after all this. So already made my first mistake of the race. I'm sure it won't be my last. But the others are going to have to come in for inters soon. The growl all the way down to 4%. Those tires are almost gone. No. Track is not dried out. It's just going to get wetter. We just had to come out a little bit early because of our tire situation. That's better than an extra pit stop, I think. Still the only cars out on inters. We'll see how long this lasts. I want to stick on neutral for the tires for the moment and just see how that works out. Let's match up our energy levels. That's about right. We are in the last couple of positions. We're looking terrible. Until they have to come in. We're still losing time. Okay, now we've stopped losing time. Now we're gaining. And they still haven't come in. Well. See how far up we move. Back to hybrid. We don't want to forget that. First and 7th, not all that different from how we started off the race. Now the question is, how much fuel do we have compared to how much we need when it's going to become... We're probably going to have to go to wets at some point. But for the meantime, we've got Van Hoer at 6.2, Briscoe at 9.6, and we don't have to be great this race. We just have to be not horrific, which is why no matter what happens with the tires, I don't want to push them. And we also did throw our bonus in on the inters, which means this is the time of the race we want to try to do well. You can see that Briscoe could potentially pick up a couple spots. Van Hoer locking up the tires. Still quite a ways to go yet before we'll hit wets. And we're, a little over an hour in. Briscoe is locked up. Looks like he's stuck behind. We're battling behind one of the Toyota cars. hybrid again. Going through the tires pretty quick. What's our temperature at? And now Briscoe in the zone. Definitely going through the tires a lot faster than we're going through fuel. Let's go conserve for a bit here. I have a feeling just tire conservation is going to be the thing. We don't seem to be getting as much out of them as is being predicted. There we go. Come on. And now we're going to switch back to neutral. So they don't get super low, I hope. There we go. And I think that's about the most that we can get out of the tires. The other cars do have fresher tires because we pit first. But I don't think we're that far now away from switching to wets. So I just want to sort of keep going to the extent that we can. And we're a quarter of the way through Beijing. Gotta hang on. Once again, we're going to need to stay out there for a while. Down to 8th is Briscoe. Still leading the race by a decent margin is Van Hoor. Of course, you'll only need one good car finish. We're tied with Rebellion for the lead in this race right now. Okay, tires are getting iffy. I am going to need to push a little bit, so I went conserve too long. I don't like pushing with a track like this. They're going to run low if I don't. Looks like our fuel amount is probably a little much, but reasonable. We've lost the lead now. Let's go back to neutral. I'm really surprised they haven't asked for wet tires yet. Maybe we aren't going to need them. Because this is going to peak soon, and then it'll go back down. Getting cooler. Yeah, they're pitting. What are they going to do? Waiting to see what their switches are. Yep, they're going wets. Yeah, and it's wet enough. I'm really surprised they haven't said anything, but this is definitely into wets territory. It's not going to be for a huge amount of time, but it will be for long enough. Well, maybe for about an hour. All right, let's switch to a stint of wets for sure. And yeah, we're going to go Briscoe first. Switch to Ludwig, who hasn't been out there yet, despite his tire condition. And I want to go a little bit less fuel. Went with 40 that time. Let's drop it to 35. Van Hoor. 30. Well, no, I don't want to pit you yet. That would be a mistake. We're going to have Briscoe come in. Van Hoor, one more lap, and then you go. That's how I want to play this. We have a big drop-off in the drivers there from Briscoe to Ludwig, but that can't be helped. And now Van Hoor will make his stop. We'll get Mueller out there. Also, still not looking good. But again, my strategy here is basically to get through this race. Don't really care about your tire wear because you're about to come in. So we definitely stayed out too long on the inters. I was just expecting them to tell me when they felt it was time for the switchover. Doesn't appear that I'm going to wrap this up with a virtuoso performance, as we're now down to 5th and 8th. Yep, we definitely lost some traction there. But there's still some time to make up some ground. We'll see how it goes. And of course, we're still showing a 70-point win. Oh, we had a crash for one of the Class B teams, Netherlands. And temperature of the tires dropping quickly. We're going to hold on neutral for as long as we can, as we are right now at the peak wetness of the track that it appears we're going to see. It looks like it's going to be inters or wets for, I mean, it could be the rest of the race by the look of that, but definitely for the majority of the race. So I'm definitely glad that we're getting some wet weather to give them a break and that we have more sets of inters, because we are going to need them. Alright, let's slow down a bit here, because we're going to have to push, like, really soon. Yeah, I can't wait any longer, I don't think. I want to push for a brief period, and then go back to neutral. Mueller's stuck in traffic, unfortunately. It'd be nice for him to get by. There it is. And the question is, sort of that valley there, right in that area, are we going to get low enough that we need to switch to inters? And honestly, right now, I think maybe not. We may be doing a long run on wets, which nobody prepared for. In which case, it would just be a matter of matching our fuel usage to the length of the stints. Let's go back neutral here. We'll have to see how low the water gets. It's going to sit in that valley for a while. Basically almost an entire stint length. So I want to get through as much of this wet period as we possibly can. Let's extend out this speed a little more. We're now past the 1/3 mark here in Beijing. Holding in 5th and 8th. Definitely believe that we have the potential to do better than that, but again, Rebellion's running away with it. We're competitive with everybody else. We just need some points here to wrap this up. So it's caution over aggressiveness for sure in the final race. Losing temperature, but at least the heat is going up in terms of the environment. But yeah, it's not going to go down that much lower. We might be staying on wets. We are going to switch to hybrid. And then we will also switch to pushing again. And then for this stop, I want to stop before the tires get bad, I think. We did put 35 laps of fuel on for this one, so I want to remember that number and see how close it is to what we actually need, and probably drop again how much we're using. And that is enough of pushing. We will go back to neutral. And again, the temperature should drop somewhat slower now. Yep, we're nearing the bottom of the valley and we're still on wets territory, so I think we stay on wets. And this probably is the longest stretch of wets weather that I've seen. So there's been some very interesting weather. There's been some very interesting weather and unique weather out of the several years, plus all the challenges that I've seen. That has all showed up here. Ah, doggone it. Forgot to switch Mueller over on ERS, and now I've got to match those things up again. So now we're into wet. Like, we're barely into Inter's territory, possibly. But I still think it's better to stay on wets because it's going to go back up a little. Well, maybe, maybe not. The thing is, if it's borderline, I'd rather be on Inters. Reason for that being, we've got the bonus on Inters. It's going to get a little wetter later, but not much. Everybody else is still on wets. They haven't found it compelling to switch yet. And then if I switch and I'm wrong, that could create more problems. But yeah, I do think it's low enough that I do want to go Inters. And we're just going to get a little bit more out of this set first. Ludwig is going to be coming in first. Get a little bit more push here and let's slow down. Go hybrid. And I think it's time to come in. So, back to Castelli. We're going to switch to Inters. And we want to back off the fuel a little bit. We'll go with 33. And balanced. No mistakes from the pit crew so far. It'd be nice if they can keep that up. Go and go neutral here. Mueller can probably get another lap or two out there. Was stuck behind traffic for a bit, now fighting in 5th and 6th, unfortunately. No, I don't think it's that wet. Interesting that they never asked for that before. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, because you are catching up to the leaders. So this is real tense whether I should actually be doing this, but I am going to do it. Negrao, you go inters as well, because it's borderline. Whether or not we should be on inters or wets, it really is. And I would probably be going wets if it was one of those where I felt just really necessary to milk everything. But I feel I can take the risk here that inters might be better. Because everybody else is still going wets. And it is going to get a little bit wetter and then come down a little bit and all of those things. Now, they're both telling me wets are better, but I still think that it's close enough and that our inters bonus is going to matter. Now, again, we're continuing to catch them on our fresh inters. So I think our bonus on inters is going to be enough to carry it. If I'm wrong, I'll pay for it. But I won't pay that much. We go medium conserve there. Back to hybrid. I want to go neutral as soon as we drop out of this zone. There we go, we're clear. We're now over halfway through the race, 6th and 8th. Very middle of the pack. Boy. They were right, we're losing time steadily. Inters just aren't getting the job done. Blah. Well, I've made the decision, I'm sticking with it. Even though it's probably gonna... Yep. I'm just accepting the fail. I'm accepting the fact this is going to be a bad race for us. I'm accepting it's not going to be a great finish. It's still going to be enough of a finish. We're sort of limping our way across the finish line, but we are earning the rewards, or reaping the rewards, rather, of having done things well earlier in the race, earlier in the season, to establish the lead. Would I have preferred to have done this better? Most assuredly. But it's going to be enough. Still getting wetter. Yep, and we're definitely fading. So, made the wrong call. And blathered on too much and allowed that to happen. Good grief. Stop locking up. We want to go conserve on your tires for a bit here. Yeah, we're way behind most of the field now. We're getting toasted. And the ironic part is I think we're going to want inters for the next set. And then after that, I don't know if it's dry enough. I don't know what we put on the cars. We might have to use some used inters or something. Anyway. We'll see. We'll see how that rolls. You can switch down to neutral. So we're just going to run out the current set of tires. Not that much left on them now. It is going to gradually start getting drier now, so we're going to lose less ground. But boy, 3 laps down. Yeah. Definitely earlier in the campaign, this would have been grounds for rerunning the race. Or just taking a bad fail. But you can play this game a long time and still learn things in terms of these marginal edge case nuances. Let's go hybrid. Still a little bit high, if anything, on the fuel. I think I want to keep it there. Maybe 32 for the next one. Castelli, you're coming in. Switching back to Briscoe. Last fresh set of inters. 32. Balanced. And they screw up on the tires. Outstanding. Let's make this worse. How much we lose? 9 seconds. McGraw, you got a couple more laps. Now we'll bring you in for Van Hoor. And away we go. See if we get through this without any screw-ups. We do. We're at the bottom of the pack now. There is one other car out on inters. But we're still losing ground to the leaders. More and more and more of it. Talk about limping across the finish line. We get no points. We're not going to win it by much. We're giving away almost all of the lead. Oh, it's ugly, but we're going to get the job done. The old marathon, not a sprint thing is very appropriate in this case. Getting warmer. We are down into wet. Still losing ground. Even on cars with worn tires. Now, it's an interesting question. Who's going to be the final? I think it's definitely going to go to Ludwig. Yeah, Ludwig and Mueller. They'll have plenty to carry us through. Looks like it's finally starting to go back the other way. But by this point, we're 4 laps off the pace. Maybe only 3 and change now. Back to hybrid. Van Hoor has picked up a spot, so now we have points again. 2 of them. Yay. Went a bit far with that hybrid run. I think we're going to want inters all the way to the end, so we'll use the inters that have the most left on them. Probably come in around the 45-minute mark, something like that. Boy, only 9 points separating us and Toyota right now. That's too close for comfort. Now it's going to start to precipitously dry out. And I think we're ready to come in. Briscoe, give way to Ludwig. That's our best one. And we'll go with, say, 26 laps. Because we're not going to need nearly as much. We're not going to need to do a full stint. You know what? I'll call it 28 just to be safe. I don't want to run out of fuel. Rather obviously. And then you can come in for Mueller. Same tire selection. Same fuel situation. Let's go there. And let's see how we're doing here. Ludwig gets out. Van Hoor is in. And they screw up the pit stop. 9-second refueling. Okay, so we've just decided that we're essentially going to botch this race. Multiple mistakes in the pit crew. Actually worse than average odds. Everything else. We are at 10th and 12th. Yeah. Are we really going to win this by 5 freaking points? After all of this, 5 points. Still, we are just over half an hour away from it. Mueller heading through traffic and trying to catch some of those ahead. 10th and 11th now. Let's go and burn some fuel. Track getting drier and drier, faster and faster. It's pretty much as warm. Yeah, it's as warm as it's going to get. It was actually a little warmer a bit ago. Less than half an hour left in the season. Why would you go on hards for the last 30 minutes of the race? People going mediums. We got all kinds of stuff. Toyota falling back a fair amount now. Looks like it is actually dry enough, possibly, to get off wet tires, but we needn't bother. And so, this is a very interesting situation. It's the first time that the main tire I plan on using for the race... Yep, there we go. The main tire I plan on using for the race, mediums, I didn't actually use once. And the cars on the medium tires are a little faster than us. They're only going to get faster the rest of the way. Thankfully, I don't have to care. We're in 9th and 10th. We don't have that many points. We're going to just sneak this out. Oh, Mueller up to 7th, though. At least the moment. Back down to 8th. But 8th and 9th gives us some more points, some more leeway. You know what? Let's just do speed boost here just for the fun of it. Ludwig still falls to 11th. 7-point lead. Final minute. Mueller down to 10th. 5-point lead. Worn tires, we don't care. Yep. It was a disaster. Toyota won. But we had enough of a lead to survive it. Rebellion. Drive-through penalty. G-Drive demoted. We actually slipped one of our cars down to 4th overall behind Toyota. But we still win. A wimpy 9-point win, backing, tripping, stumbling across the finish line. We still get the job done. Morale for everybody in the tank after that showing. Not a surprise. We do still get boosts for Castelli, who almost got consistency, but not quite this year. We do still make some money, but not as much as we would have due to the sponsor bonus. But we win. We are world champions. Team champions, endurance champions. And that is it. Thanks everybody for sticking with me through the Motorsport Manager series. Those of you who did, again, obviously not the most stellar performance here, but we got the job done. Again, we're skipping the single-seater racing because there's a ton of that out there and not really enough more that I could show to make it worth it, in my opinion. And so I'll be coming back with a new series on the channel soon. Till then, thanks for watching, everybody. And my longest running series is now over, but more to come.